Luca and his family knew that the endgame was near. Sooner or later, they would come face to face with the Demon Lord. Now, with the Dragon God on their side, they had nothing to stop them from reaching the top of Mount Velez, where before now, no human could reach. Upon arrival, the family witnessed with their own 2 eyes the fruits of the enslaved labor. The followers of Light's temple was completed and their sacrifice was near. The presence of the family is at first ignored, for the dear leader's sermon is beginning and all devotees' attention is grasped by it. However, a god notices that Luca's soul has not yet been taken from his body. He notices this from staring into his eyes and attacks on sight. The dragon soldiers stood no chance. Some devotees say the oddest things: praise to the bishop, praise to Lady Martha. The family snuck into the sermon and had no words for what they found. Luca had no words for what was in front of his eyes. He saw his wife, still turned to stone, standing behind the dear leader. The dear leader introduces herself to Luca as Martha. For the first time in Luca's life, he stands before his mother. She's longed for him dearly, and now she serves the great leader Abul. Seeing Luca once again makes her think back on her life and realizes her late husband had bored her, which leads her to something very important to discuss. She asks Luca to promise to renounce his throne to serve only Lord Abul and join his mother. Luca had no intention of doing this, but the fact his mother was asking the question, he longed to stay close to her and lied. He told her what she wanted to hear. Luca had imagined this moment 1,000 times in his head. He had not imagined it would feel like this. Martha bestows a blessing onto Luca before meeting with the Lord Abul, and he becomes cursed along with Bueno, Faith, and Sancho. The monotone hums of the cult's followers were drawn out by an intense laughter, proclaiming that it is done, and that Luca's pitiful mother is no longer part of this world. Martha transforms into the loyal servant of Lord Abul, the Bishop Ramada, who wants to steal the family's souls, just like he has done with all the other cretins. Bishop Ramada was a giant cyclops of sheer strength. Meanwhile, Luca and the family had not yet fully recovered from their confrontation with Larger, but they persisted. Bueno had no magical stamina and focused on full attacks. The healing was scarce. Luca held back to protect his children with Sancho, and eventually they overcame the bishop thanks to Faith, transforming into the mighty fiery dragon and holding off Ramada. In his final words, he praises Lord Abul. All of a sudden, the devotees of the followers of light here at the temple, the slaves who built its walls and floors, suddenly regained their consciousness. Confused and dazed about what had happened, they say the statue of Bianca was placed here, and it was said that as long as it remained, it would prevent the birth of a legendary hero. Luca spots young Gigio in the crowd, who thought that Luca resembled the statue his parents brought him when he was just a baby, and he feels a sense of urgency to return himself back home. Luca had found a hidden staircase behind the altar thanks to one of the devotees, and Luca took one look at Bianca's statue as it filled him with the strength to persist. He will return to her. Luca began to feel nostalgic. The very same halls he was enslaved and confined in for 10 whole years, he had revisited. It looked different, but he could never forget those days. After so many years the halls had been completed, it was nearly time for the followers of Light's reign over this world, starting with the Demon Lord's return. The family became lost in the temple halls. A whole day felt like a blur. They had stumbled across a decaying corpse with a diary in hand. The final words written were, "Maria, your brother is now done for. If only I had one wish, it would be just for you to be able to lead a happy life." The family gradually began to feel weaker and weaker, still unrecovered from the fight with Larger and now Ramada. The curse that had been placed upon them had taken its effect. Their magic had been entirely depleted from their souls. They had no choice but to return to the nearby abbey and rest up. The women of the abbey will always happily take in Luca and aid him. He donated to the church and the family was uncursed by God. The next day, at the crack of dawn, they set their sights back on Mount Velez, and Luca had found Lord Abul. who failed in his best efforts to stop the birth of a legendary hero, and is saddened to hear his #1 clergyman, Ramadar, had been defeated. All that's transpired up until this moment is fate, but from here on, Ibul will be the one to write history, and their fated battle begins. Ibul was immune to countless spells and had the ability to strip away both attackive and defensive boosts of his opponents. He used his demon powers to his advantage and proved himself as a strong and capable leader of the followers of light. Therefore, if Luca had not retreated the day before to rest and uncurse his family, he surely would have been bested by Ibul. Unfortunately for him, that was not the case, and history was written by Luca's victory. Victory that granted him knowledge of sheer importance. Ibul had revealed Luca's real mother was alive in the demon world, and if he intends to rescue her, then it would be his best interest to step into the demon world himself, and Ibul will even grant him passage through to the gate to the demon world, and musters the last of his power for Luca's aid. As the light shone upon him, his powers were abruptly cut off, and Larger had appeared over his shoulder, mocking him for his confidence as leader of the followers of light, unaware he was just a pawn to collect gullible humans as a figurehead priest. Larger allows Luca to go free, for now, so he can die in more sadness later. All this was so confusing. Ibul was ready to willingly support Luca despite working for the followers of light for so long, even revealed the whereabouts of his mother with a clue on how to get there. Even Larger had allowed the family to go free. Luca knew they was planning something. He knew he was being lured into a trap into the demon world, but he had no choice. He had to save his mother. Laying on the ground in front of him, Luca found the Ring of Life, which has a faint trace of Luca's mother's warmth upon it. Luca and his family felt an air of peace within the temple, with all the menacing energy stemming from Ibul and Ramadar was gone from this world, forever. The air of peace had allowed the Ring of Life to stir up some magic, and coming from it was a faint, mysterious voice. A voice saying, "Luca, my name is Martha. You can finally hear your mother's voice. Luca, you don't know how much I want to see you all grown up. While that may be what I desire, it simply cannot be. Luca, you must not try to enter the demon world. Even the legendary hero would not survive against the great demon lord. Luca, I know that you already have a beautiful wife and children. Please, it is hopeless. Forget about your mother and live happily with your family. I'll never let Nimzo enter your world, even if it means my life. Now please go. There should be someone special waiting for you at the entrance. Goodbye, Luca." Martha's words stayed with Luca as he climbed the stairs. Someone special was waiting for him at the entrance. As they reached the altar, a gentle glow surrounded the statue. He didn't know how, but somehow, he knew what was about to happen. After nearly 10 years, Bianca was standing in front of him, alive. Luca had imagined this moment across years of silence. He had not imagined it would feel this simple, and they returned home to Gopher with their long-lost queen. Bianca never forgot about Bueno and Faith, and she feels so loved that Luca had searched all over the world for her. She's truly sorry she's been absent from her children's lives, but the kids are just too excited to finally see their mother. Sir Ogeron calls for King Luca to discuss his intentions to venture into the darkness of the demon world. Ogeron wishes Luca would honour what Martha told him. However, Luca ignored this, and also his family ignored this. Bueno knew that he was the legendary hero, and his purpose was to free the world from evil. Bianca had no preference what Luca would do. She just wanted to accompany him. She adores him. And finally, Faith was curious to see her grandmother, and she also wants to head into the demon world. Sancho had realised that he could not keep up with his travels. Age was getting the best of him, and he would not be of much use to Luca anymore. He had done the best he could for so long, and still he could barely keep up. He humbly decides to stay back to not be detrimental to Luca's safety, and in his place, Bianca joins the family on their adventure. They had first returned to Mount Velez to investigate anything they had missed, to search for more clues, and to their surprise, they had discovered the legendary heavenly Zenithian armor. It was being kept atop such a high cliff in order to keep it away from the legendary hero. This meant that now all 4 of the legendary equipment had been found after centuries, and the legendary hero had finally risen into the world and found his birthright. All that was left was to complete the prophecy and defeat the evil lingering within the underworld and bring back peace to the people. The most logical place to figure out how to venture into the demon world would be El Haven, home of the Heavenly Descendants, where they learned the doorway was in the ominous cave just north of El Haven, through the ancient structures at the Sea Temple door. Now the Master Dragon had been restored to this world, a pleasant light has begun to shine, and no longer will the so-called Great Demon Lord be able to enter here freely. The Sea Temple has been locked for hundreds of years, and according to an ancient story, when you bring the temple an offering of 3 rings, the gate to the demon world will open. The family ventured deep into the cave and found the Sea Temple door. There were 3 angel statues with their arms out, waiting to be given something. Luca and Bianca were in possession of a fire ring and water ring from the day of their marriage. Upon the request of Mr. Ludman, Luca had found the fire ring inside a volcano, and after meeting Bianca, they found the water ring inside a deep underwater cave. It was said that these were magical rings, but little did they know its true purpose. And the 3rd and final ring was Luca's mother's ring, the Ring of Life. These 3 rings were offered to the statues, and they was taken to a strange place where they heard a voice. The voice said, "Luca, you actually came into this desolate realm just to save me. Luca, you have grown up more than I ever imagined you would. I won't ask you to turn back now. From this moment on, I can only put my faith in your power. As your mother, I'll do whatever I can to help you. Please take this gift. Good luck, Luca." A sparkling stone had dropped from above Luca's head. He had found the Sage's Stone. Now they had successfully entered the demon realm. Luca had one sight on his mind. He was determined to save his mother.